welcome to my last Christmas special tutorial, and this one is going to be the biggest project out of the whole series. What we are using here today is Universe. Now you might have seen that for a headband. I like this yarn so much and I had enough of it. I thought I'd do it for this project as well, and it will match the headband. This is Universe. It's extra large. It's from Hobbi. It is acrylic 98% and 2% polyester. The polyester is the bling. It says use a 4.5mm hook. I need to use a 5.5, and it is 100 grams and it's 220 meters. This is a very, very simple design that we will be doing, and it will have the decorative edging with the snowballs or baubles, depending on what you want to call it. We will be using two hooks. The first hook will be the 6.5mm hook. This is the Furls hook. This one is used to do the chain so that the whole garment ends up being even. I find if I start with the hook that I'm going to continue with, it brings it in too much. So the body of the work is going to be this, which is the 5.5mm hook. Alright, let's get this project started. Okay, so we found the end of our yarn and we're going to do a slip knot. Now getting your larger hook, which is the 6.5mm hook. Put your yarn on the hook. And we will be chaining as many stitches as makes up to 65 centimeters. So I will get back to you with the amount of stitches that is when I have measured it to 65 centimeters. So I've completed my chain and it ended up being 95 stitches for me and my tension using this yarn. So depending on the yarn that you're using and depending on your tension and everything, depends on how many stitches you have. But if you want to follow along with me, chain yourself 95 stitches. Now what we need to do is change our hook over to our smaller hook, which is the 5.5. Then I need to chain one, and we are going to be working in the back of each stitch on the chain. So you can see that the front is a V, and when you turn it over, the back has a little lump there. We're going to be working each stitch in the back of that lump. So we are doing half double crochets throughout this project until we come to the decorative snowball edging. So yarn over, there's the lump on the back of that second stitch, not the first one, the second one. There's that lump. Put your hook into that lump. Grab your yarn, pull it through, and grab your yarn and pull through all 3 loops on the hook. Yarn over, go to the next stitch, go into that lump, put your hook through, grab your yarn, pull it through, grab your yarn and pull through all 3 loops on the hook. Next stitch, next, and keep repeating this all the way to the end, and I will meet you back here when you have finished that row. Okay, finished your first row, and then what you need to do at the end of that row is chain 1, turn your work, and you just repeat your half double crochets for the next X amount of rows. I don't know how many it will be. That will make 140 centimeters. So just keep repeating row after row after row until you have made your big, what essentially is a rectangle, 40 centimeters long. Now I will continue doing my rectangle, and I will let you know how many rows I ended up doing. And if you're following along with me, you'll be able to see how many rows that is and that you will be doing. So I will meet you back here after I have finished my 140 centimeters long rectangle. We have finished making our very long rectangle. It is so long I can't fit it into the video, but it is 72 centimeters wide and 150 centimeters long, and I ended up doing, when I counted up all my stitch markers, it was 170 rows. Now you don't have to do it that long or that wide. I generally will go about 65 centimeters wide and 150 centimeters long, and that is a nice fit when I've sewn it all up. If you want to do it shorter, go for it. If you want to do it longer, go for it. That's just the size I use, and that's a guide you can use. I did this one slightly longer so that it can be more wintry and go further down the body. So what we need to do now is we are going to end up, it's falling off, we are going to end up sewing around the edge when it's all sewn up. So leave this here, and what I would suggest is putting a stitch marker in there. So I'm going to steal one of these stitch markers here, and so that you don't unravel it, because I don't know how many times I've unraveled it trying to film this. And then go to the other edge, all right, and grab the corner of one end and go to the go along the long edge. Oh, goodness me. Go along the long edge, keep going, keep going, keep going. Find the other end, okay, and fold in half. Bear with me. Fold in half and bring those edges together. All right, and what we're going to do is sew these together. Now go up to your fold, up to your fold, up to your fold, up to your fold. There's our fold there. And make it how big you want for your head to fit through, and also so it sits just above your shoulder, because that's a nice look. But if you want a really tight look, then make it smaller. If you want it more loose, then make it longer. But work out where you think that might look. Now I would suggest, to start off with, that you make it a big head hole and then put it on and adjust. So if you make I don't know how big you'll want to do it, just make a big space. Let's see, what have I eyeballing here? I'm going to put a stitch marker in where I think it's eyeballing nice, and measure it out, and that's about 40 centimeters. And I will do it as that. That's about 16 inches, about 40 centimeters. And I am going to sew up to that stitch marker. I will try it on, and then I will see if that works. Now, because I need the rest of this ball of yarn to do the edging that I'm going to do, I'm going to go to the other end and snip off some wool. So I've done that 2.5 times the length of my garment, and that should be more than enough to sew up with. Okay, so I would suggest put a slip knot in the end of your yarn. Take the other end, a little trick I was taught the other day, put this on your needle, get your two ends together, and then go in the very end, find the end of your yarn where you did the slip knot, thread that through, pull, 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 pull. Wait, no way. And then once it's through, tighten up the slip knot if you can, and there you go, there's your end done. So that was a cool little trick, thought I'd share that with you. Okay, and then like just sew up the end, nothing special. Get myself all tangled up here. Feel free to sew over the end. And just keep sewing up until you reach your stitch marker. Trial it on, see if that fits. Once you've got your head hole all worked out, come back here and I will show you how we are going to be doing the edging to make this even more Christmassy, because if you've noticed, we still haven't done our snowballs. So let's finish sewing this up and get to doing our snowballs. Alright, so I have sewn up the edge and I found that 40 centimeters was slightly too much with the weight of this yarn. It brought it down a bit, so I'm going to go up to about 35 centimeters. And now that I have done that, I am going to sew it off, just running my yarn back through that seam. And that's done. So find my scissors, snip that off, and now I need to go back to that edge that I had where I put the stitch marker in, and now take that stitch marker out, put the hook back in. And what we are going to do now is put one row all the way around the seam, all the way around the bottom. We are putting in one row, so chain one, and put in one row of single crochets all the way around. So straight, and just try and make it even as you go. So there is no hard and fast rule of this. You're just putting a stitch. When you come to here, it's at the end of each one of these rows. And when you come to the bottom of the rectangle, it's really easy because you're just putting it in a next row. So just do all the way around one row of single crochet, and you'll know why we need to do this when we come back to the beginning. So what I would suggest is, so you know where the beginning is, grab that stitch marker that you took out, put it in the first stitch there, and you know when you've come back to this, because there's a lot that you're going to have to work around to do the edge. When you have done that, I will meet you back here at the stitch marker and show you what we need to do next. Okay, so I've come to the end of the row, and I do want to join that row together with a slip stitch. Then I'm going to chain one. I'm just going to move that out of the way for a minute, and at this point you need to know whether you're inside or outside of your garment. Now that slip stitch row that we just, the single crochet row that we just did, it doesn't matter whether you did it with the back facing you or the front facing you. However, this next row, this is our decorative row, so this is going to be our snowball row. This has to be done with the back facing you. so that when you turn it inside out, you will actually see the snowballs on the front. So I know that this is the back because when I check the sewing, if I can find where the join is, the sewing there, I can see my sewing, that is the back and that is the front. Also, the other thing that I do is I put all my tails on the side that is going to be the back, so I know that that is the back as well. So now that I've established this is the back, this means that I am going to do my snowball row on this side so that the back is facing me. If you did your first row, if this wasn't the back, then just turn your work, turn it inside out so the back is facing you, okay? Or the inside, I should say, that the inside is facing you. All right, so now that we've established that, the first stitch there is going to be a single crochet. The second stitch is going to be your snowball. So yarn over, go into that stitch, grab a yarn, pull it through. Yarn over, into the same stitch, grab a yarn, pull it through. Yarn over for the third time, into that stitch again for the third time, grab a yarn, pull it through, and grab a yarn and pull through all those loops on, oh, let me just do that again. And grab the yarn and pull it through all those loops on the hook. Next stitch is a single crochet. Next stitch is your snowball. So yarn over, go into that stitch, grab a yarn, pull it through. Pull it up a little bit to make it easy to get that hook through at the end. Yarn over, go into that same stitch again, grab a yarn, pull it through, pull your hook up. Yarn over for the third time, into that stitch for the third time, grab a yarn, pull it through, pull your hook up a little bit, grab a yarn and pull through all those loops on the hook. Next stitch, single crochet. Next stitch, snowball. 1, 2, 3, through all the loops on the hook. Next stitch, single crochet. So when you turn it over, you should be able to see your snowballs are showing. So we're doing a single crochet in between each snowball stitch. And you're doing this all the way around. So my next stitch is a snowball. 1, 2, 3, and then single crochet. Snowball, 1, 2, 3, single crochet. Alrighty, so keep going and doing that all the way around. I will meet you back when you come back to here. Now this is where you put your stitch marker back into that corner so that you know where you started this row. When you get back to here, I'm going to show you what we do next. When you come to the end of that row, make sure that your last stitch is a bubble stitch. Oh, sorry, a snowball stitch. So go into the corner. So we're going 1, 2, 3, and then slip stitch, chain 1. Now no need to turn. We are just going to do the last row of this edging. So there you go. You can see all your bubbles all along. But to really help with popping them out, we need to do one more row, and this row, it can be the same side. This is just going to be a slip stitch row, sorry, single crochet row all the way around, and just keep working as you go all the way around. Now don't forget, go back and put your stitch marker in the corner, and I will meet you back here when you have finished that row. Back at the beginning, and let's just join that together. Join your row together and then snip off your yarn. Pull that through, take your stitch marker out and tie in all your ends. Now what we need to do is repeat exactly the same thing to your neck. So start with your single crochet edging around the neck, followed by your snowball row, and then your single crochet row as your last row around the edge there. And when you have finished that, well, when I have finished that, I'm going to put it up on a mannequin and show you what it looks like. Okay, there we go, everybody. I hope you like what it looks like and see the bling. Very pretty. It can be worn this way, or you can put it on its edge and it can be worn like so. So thank you for joining me in this tutorial. I hope you have enjoyed it. If you would like to see any of the other Christmas tutorials, please check them all out. There's a whole series of them. And yeah, like, subscribe and all that good stuff, and I hope to see you back at the studio sometime very soon.